previous owners of our cabin in the woods built this small extension on the upper deck with this cool little catwalk and clever hidden stairs they called the fire escape. Unfortunately, it was not aging well, and with the redesign of our lower deck, yeah, the stairs just had to go. We also removed this sketchy staircase from the other end of the upper deck, which meant we had no safe way to get to the ground. We needed a new way down. Now, Tammy suggested that we build a curly slide, which, while that sounds really fun, I also like to be able to go back up. What if we did a curly staircase? I started Googling spiral stairs. I found a few kits that you can buy and some custom staircase companies, but as you can imagine, nothing was anywhere near our price range. But hey, I'm an engineer. I can figure this out. I found all the formulas you need to do the engineering math. Then I spent some time on the whiteboard and worked out a rough plan. Even better, I found tools online that can do all the math for you. Sweet! Links in the doobly-doo. I also found another Colorado mountain couple on YouTube who built their own custom spiral stairs. Link in the doobly-doo. Brian and Amy's staircase is built out of beautiful, huge wood slabs harvested from a local tree. But theirs is inside their house. Ours would be outside, where the Colorado sun and snow would destroy that beautiful wood in no time. But I still wanted to incorporate our own trees. I decided I could make the center pole out of a local log. That's where the whole moonwood thing really started. Check out my previous video for more on that. The treads would have to be made out of steel so that they would be strong enough to support themselves when they were only attached to the center pole. And of course, they would have to cope with Colorado snow. No icy steps allowed. Ow. Ski resorts use expanded steel treads so that the snow and ice can fall through. We needed something similar. One of my neighbors, Neil, is a retired blacksmith and welder who now makes metal art. You gotta check out his Etsy page, link in the doobly-doo. I asked him if he'd be willing to take on a big welding project, and after I explained it to him, he said, "Hey, that sounds like fun." Yes, I agree. Neil and I put our heads together, and between my engineering math and his metal skills, we came up with a design. Neil had a couple of prototypes welded up in no time.
I'm so excited!
Now, I was putting a lot of trust in my own math, so I decided that a low-altitude test flight was necessary. Man, I love when things just work. With the design tested, we got to work building 12 treads. The balusters, now that's the technical term for the uppy-downy bits that hold the handrail, would add strength and rigidity to the treads by tying them together. I wanted to thread about 12 inches on each baluster so that with nuts and washers I could level each tread individually. I ordered a threading die and set about cutting each of the 13 steel rods. After the first few rods, I knew I was out of my depth. It took over 2 exhausting hours to thread each rod. Finally, I gave in and I took them to a machine shop. 2 days and $400 later, all 13 were done. For the handrail itself, rather than try to do the really difficult math and fabrication for a huge spiral, I just decided to use rope. I found this synthetic version of 2-inch hemp rope. It's smoother than real hemp rope and it promises to stand up to snow and sun. It was relatively cheap, so if I end up having to replace it, I'm okay with that. All of the steel got 2 coats of primer and 3 coats of high-quality rattle can paint. This stuff should have no problem standing up to the environment, and it's super easy to touch up or repaint if it comes to that. Now, before we could assemble the stairs, I had to reframe and finish out the upper deck extension. That means pulling up all the old deck boards and removing these short added-on joists. Then, the most nerve-wracking part of the whole project. I had to cut notches into my aged, hand-shaved, carefully constructed logs to accept the new joists. I had to be super precise for the new deck to be strong and level. And if I screwed it up, there was no going back. I wasn't even sure how to do it. A chainsaw would be too hard to control. A saber saw or circular saw couldn't cut the notches out that I needed. I stewed on this for a very long time before coming up with the idea of using a Multimax vibrating blade. These tools are not really designed for this heavy of a job, so I had to take it really slow. I measured and leveled and cut and measured and leveled again. It took me most of a day, but I finally got both notches cut perfectly.
Oh, perfect.
With the initial frame done, I had to add in the new joists. This turned out to be a real chore. The existing structure could not be taken apart, so with a bit of cheating and a lot of brute force, I hammered them into place.
There we go.
And with all the framing done, it was time to install our spiral stairs. It took a while to figure out exactly how to install the treads. Each tread weighs about 30 pounds, so holding them up while getting them level and straight in 3 dimensions was exhausting work. Imagine holding a big bag of dog food over your head for several minutes at a time, all day long.
I need a jig. I need a jig.
For what?
To easily measure 8 inches from one step to the next. All right, that's 8 inches.
Okay, it's level right. Oh, it was level. It's level.
Is this still level? Okay, well, there's 3 steps.
Only 9 more to go. We learned more with each step, and by the afternoon, we were in the groove. Last step went in, I was pleased.
Woo! Oh, it feels sturdy. Yeah. Yes! It works!
There was still a lot more to do, tightening all the bolts, touching up the paint, and finishing the handrail. But it felt so good to see all the math and hard work come together. A few months later, we finally got a good snow, and I was thrilled to see that the treads shed the snow exactly like I'd hoped.
It works!
Now what are we going to do about this unfinished upper deck? I promise you'll find out next time. Subscribe so you don't miss it.